That's what I'm going to want to see here. I want someone to explain to me how a union blocks your ability to gain ownership. That's what I want to know. I want to find that out. So the telephone lines are open for those two only. If we don't get a call from them, then we're going to have to help them out of the chat room. But this is their opportunity to educate the rest of us. This is their opportunity to educate us so we can find out exactly what it is the unions could have done or should have done. So let's go ahead and get to that. Those are the only two people I want calling in. If anybody else calls up, I am going to Superman clown you, and then I'm going to hang up on you. I'm only opening up the phone lines for just those two so they can have an opportunity to explain what it is that I'm just not seeing here. So those are the only two with permission to call up. Anybody else, do not get on the line. Do not call in to listen on the line. Do not pick up the phone or dial for any reason unless you are calling in to speak. And those are the only two people I want calling in. Little Lady and Black, you can go ahead and give us a call. Let me get caller from 404. Is this Little Lady?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes. Now, where are you calling us from?
Hi, Jason. I'm calling in from Atlanta, Georgia, in Gwinnett County.
Okay. Now, would you kindly explain to me what it is that the unions have done to prevent black employees at Clorox in Atlanta from taking the knowledge they've gained on the job and using it to build their own enterprise?
Okay, well, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't speak for what's going on in Atlanta at Clorox, but I can speak of my experiences I had when I lived in Northern Virginia and I worked for the Defense Logistics Agency.
Okay.
On Fort Belvoir.
Okay, but I'm asking a question here because you said the unions are the problem.
Well, I felt like the union at that time set me up and I lost my job. I had to end up filing an EEOC complaint. It took 3.5 years to settle, but I had to end up.
Okay, were you trying to take over the business? Because that's what I was talking about. So what is it that what you're saying has anything to do with what I'm talking about?
Well, I think that sometimes when you go onto a job, I'm not talking about Clorox. I'm just saying jobs in general. When you go through the interview process, they say one thing in an interview, and then when you get on the job, it's something totally different. Then you have your coworkers say, "Yeah, join the union," and then when a problem comes up on the job, the union goes. They be the main ones causing all the conflict to me. In my experience that I had, I don't know what's going on at Clorox in Atlanta. And then I had a guy friend of mine that had a situation at his job, and his union got involved, and his union screwed him. So I'm just saying, it just seemed like the unions be working for the corporations or the companies. They don't really have the employee at heart.
How so?
Huh?
I'm not understanding. What were you expecting? What were you expecting the unions to do for you to empower you to run the company?
Well, I was at a government job, so it wasn't that I was expecting the union to empower me, but I had a racial complaint with my supervisor.
The crux of my venereal infection. If I may retain my liquids here for one moment, I'd like to continue the redundance of my quote-unquote intestinal tract. See, because to preclude on the issue of world domination would only circumcise the revelation that reflects the aphrodisiac symptoms which now perpetrates the Jericho's activation.
Okay, listen to me very carefully here, okay? The problem that we have as black people is that when adults start talking, you end up with some people who, I don't know what their mamas were doing while they were pregnant, but they're kind of scatterbrained. They don't listen very well.
Hello?
They don't comprehend. They don't comprehend the language very well. And you are one of those people, okay? What you're talking about has nothing to do.
I don't agree with
what you're talking about has absolutely not a damn thing to do with what I've been saying.
What you're talking about has absolutely nothing to what happened to me when I was in Northern Virginia.
Okay, but you're in our chat room while we're discussing a different topic. You're off topic. Nobody wants to discuss nobody wants to talk about your employment problems.
In Atlanta.
Nobody wants to discuss your employment issues.
My mom retired at E9 in the United States Army, and I have been in the military for over 20 years. So what are you talking about?
I'm talking about the fact you're a freaking idiot. That's what I'm talking about. You're a moron. Nobody's talking about your stupid job, you jackass. Nobody's talking about that.
Yes, I gave you an example, bitch.
That's not an example, dummy. Nobody cares about your union woes. This is the problem right here. The bastard babies. We got grown black people sitting up here and cannot hold a singular train of thought. This is the problem. I'm talking about black people reverse engineering a business, and this dumbass mammy wants to jump on the phone talking about, well, I used to work for a defense contractor. I can see why your stupid ass got fired. Then she's wanting to blame the union. No, they just didn't want an idiot working for them. I'm talking about serious stuff. I'm talking about what we need to do to run this thing and take it over for ourselves. And she's talking about, well, you know, the real issue with these places, though, is the unions. They don't do nothing. The crack babies of the late 80s and early 90s are now grown. And they're infecting. When we get together, a group of black people to discuss business, here they come with the crack pipe in hand. Talking about, well, let me tell you about my employment issues. We're not talking about employment issues, Aunt Esther. We're talking about ownership issues. So you end up with somebody's jiggly face, face-looking mammy sitting up here talking this nonsense in front of grown people. You want to know one of the reasons why other groups of people can get so much done so quickly is because people like this aren't allowed to speak. And yes, I am clowning your ass as an example to everybody else. And that's another thing I want to talk about here. No, don't worry. No, she hasn't gone anywhere. Don't worry about that at all. Are you still there, Mammy?
Yeah, I'm still here. You ain't finna run me off.
Okay, I'm not gonna run you off. I am going to say that I want you to take off your house slippers, take the rollers out of your hair, put down the bucket of chitlins, and hang up the phone.
I don't even eat pork, Jason, and I have a low cut.
You have a low IQ. You have a low IQ.
I don't have a low IQ.
Yes, you do.
I've been listening to you. I've been listening to you for the last 2 years. I must not have a low IQ.
No, you've been sitting in the chat room for 2 years. You have not been listening. I find that difficult to believe.
No, I've been listening to you. That's why I tune out and tune out. That's why I tune in and tune out on you sometimes because I don't agree with everything that you say.
Well, now you're going to hang up.
Entitled to their opinion.
Okay, my opinion is to hang up on you. That's my opinion. In the face of grown-ass people. Let me deal with an issue right here because I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking and I know what you believe. So let me go ahead and address this really quickly here. Jason? Yes, to the ghetto-produced bastard baby out there who has no problem listening to rappers and watching Cardi B clown you and mock you. But somehow I'm too abrasive. That's what I'm talking about there, Jason. You be so mean to peoples. What do you mean, Bushika?
You be so mean. And you be talking to people's rudelies.
Now, I want you to understand something. The reason why black people as a group have encountered the issues that we have is that instead of us being able to sit down and stay focused, we have politicians who jump subject. They don't see any reason to stay on the subject that we raised. You know why? Because they take a look at how we discuss things daily. They take a look at what happens